Have you ever felt that strange atmosphere? That slightly uncomfortable silence, like something massive is about to happen, but no one wants to talk about it? Well, that's exactly the mood taking over behind the scenes in the Premier League right now. Something completely out of the ordinary is stirring the corridors, the meeting rooms and, above all, the backstage of two clubs that, in recent years, have become true protagonists in English football. And trust me, what's happening behind the curtains could completely change the course of the upcoming season. And listen, if you're a passionate Newcastle United fan, the kind who doesn't like missing a single thing happening at our beloved club, do yourself a favor right now. Hit that subscribe button. This simple click massively helps our work to grow, and more importantly, guarantees that you'll receive all the hottest updates, exclusive behind-the-scenes info and real-time news about everything going on at Newcastle. So subscribe, turn the notification bell on, and join us to follow every single detail of this story that's about to explode. Now, back to it. You know when those strange whispers start floating around? Backstage talks, agents traveling more than usual, non-stop phone calls, and meetings happening outside of the usual schedules. Yep, that's exactly the atmosphere right now surrounding clubs like Newcastle, Tottenham, and even some European giants. And believe me, we're not talking about just any player here. This is serious, a high-profile movement involving massive figures, strategic decisions, and, most importantly, a player who, until very recently, was considered a golden boy, a superstar, one of the biggest names at one of the world's biggest clubs. For those who closely follow the transfer market, this name might not come as a total shock. After all, since the end of last season, there have been whispers gradually gaining momentum. Quiet meetings, discreet inquiries, and even some initial conversations have already taken place. And according to highly reliable sources, like Court Offside, this negotiation is indeed very real. And the most intriguing part, it's not just English clubs involved. Spanish, German, Italian giants, and even clubs from Saudi Arabia are closely monitoring the situation. Yes, mate, it's time for you to know exactly what's going on. According to reports from Court Offside, one of Manchester United's biggest stars is, indeed, packing his bags to leave Old Trafford. And we're talking about none other than Marcus Rashford. Yes, him, the English forward, a modern-day icon for the Red Devils, is ready to leave the club, and brace yourselves, is even willing to take a pay cut to make it happen. And guess what? Newcastle United has emerged as one of the leading candidates to secure his signing for the upcoming season. And hey, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, now is the perfect time. Here you won't just get this breaking story, but every single bit of insider info about what's happening behind the scenes at Newcastle. So hit that subscribe button, turn the notification bell on, and stay with us, because there's plenty more red-hot info coming your way. Here's the current situation. Rashford, now 27 years old, is going through a serious internal breakdown at Manchester United. Since manager Ruben Amorim arrived, Rashford has been losing his place, falling out with the staff, and is clearly no longer part of the coach's plans for the upcoming season. And the information is crystal clear. Rashford is absolutely ready to leave Old Trafford, even if it means accepting a considerable wage cut. Right now, his salary sits at an eye-watering £325,000 per week. Let's be honest, that's a heavy figure, even for Premier League clubs, especially considering his recent dip in form. But this is where it gets really interesting. Particularly for Newcastle, Rashford's willingness to reduce his salary opens a huge window of opportunity. Not just for the Magpies, but also for clubs like Tottenham, Aston Villa, and believe it or not, even Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Inter Milan, and clubs from the Saudi Pro League, who are all watching this very closely. It's no secret that the player has been flirting with the idea of a fresh start for quite some time now. In fact, earlier this year, the forward made it very clear behind the scenes that his preference was to move to Barcelona. Talks did take place at the time, but they didn't progress. Barcelona, struggling with their well-known financial crisis, eventually backed off and the deal went cold. But now, with things shifting and Rashford willing to sacrifice part of his salary, the interest could reignite. But here's the part that should really excite Newcastle fans. Despite his long-standing desire to play for Barcelona, sources close to the player confirm that Rashford views staying in the Premier League very favorably. And in that scenario, Newcastle's sporting project becomes incredibly attractive, a club on the rise. With massive investment, world-class facilities, and a guaranteed spot in Europe's top competitions for the coming seasons. Tottenham are also strongly in the race, mainly due to geographical reasons and the promise of an immediate starring role in their squad. However, according to journalist Ben Jacobs and reports from Court Offside, Newcastle are moving very aggressively behind the scenes. You know, the kind of meetings where there's no leaked photo, no social media hints, nothing in the press. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening right now. In fact, there are reports that Rashford's representatives have already had face-to-face meetings with members of the Newcastle board. The talks were described as very positive, especially regarding aligning expectations. Rashford, who desperately wants to feel valued again, sees Newcastle as a real opportunity to rediscover his best form and, who knows, reclaim his place in the England squad. If you want to keep following every single detail of this negotiation, Here's my personal invitation to hit that subscribe button right now. At any moment, a bombshell update could drop, and trust me, you do not want to be the last one to know. So turn that bell on and stick with us. On the flip side, there's one thing working against Newcastle: the international competition. Bayern Munich, who are hunting for attackers after several key departures, are watching this closely. Inter Milan, who have been very active in recent windows, are also seriously considering a bid. And let's not forget the ever-growing financial firepower of the Saudi Pro League. Who wouldn't think twice about matching or even surpassing Rashford's current salary? However, and this is important according to Court of Side, despite interest from Saudi clubs, Rashford does not favor a move to the Middle East at this stage of his career. His priority is crystal clear: stay in Europe, compete at the highest level, play Champions League football, and remain firmly in the conversation for England call-ups. So yes, the expectation is sky-high. Manchester United, for their part, have made it clear to Rashford's camp that they will not play hardball over his exit. In fact, the Red Devils understand the relationship is broken and that a transfer would benefit both sides, provided the offer is financially acceptable. And this is precisely where Newcastle come in, working hard to structure a deal that makes sense both from a sporting and financial perspective. It's also crucial to remember that Newcastle are keeping a close eye on financial fair play regulations, so any big money move must be very carefully planned. Still, inside sources confirm that the club has a specific budget set aside for a marquee signing, and without a doubt, Rashford fits that profile perfectly. This is the type of player who walks straight into the starting sheet, instantly raises the squad's level, and takes the club's competitiveness in Europe to new heights. So now it's over to you, Toon Army. Would you like to see Marcus Rashford wearing black and white next season? Do you think he's the perfect signing to elevate our attack? Let us know in the comments down below, because your opinion truly matters to us. And of course, if you haven't subscribed yet, this is the perfect time. You'll stay updated on every twist, every rumor, every bit of inside info, and every official confirmation that could drop in the coming hours or days. The fact is, this saga is only just beginning. There's a lot of chatter behind the scenes, plenty of meetings happening, agents flying around, and a whirlwind of speculation in the air. But one thing's for sure: Marcus Rashford's name will be right at the heart of this transfer window. And Newcastle, with their ambitious project and their determination to become one of Europe's true giants, are set to be major players in this story.